But the game is actually more fun than the Genesis version. There are more things happening in this game, especially when Michael Jackson transformed into a robot. On the Genesis version, you only transform into a robot at the very end of the game. And here, when you find Bubbles, the chimpanzee, you turn into a robot, and you have these two main cannons that you actually shoot laser beams out of them. You can actually charge that weapon as well.
On the console versions, you can actually play a two-player mode, but that means that you have to take turns. The first player will go first, then the second player. Now, on the console versions, in certain areas, a certain stage, by rescuing a certain child first, will trigger a comet to fall from the sky. Once that comet is grabbed, you will be able to turn to the robot. The robot can fly, you have a jetpack, and you can actually shoot missiles and you can shoot laser beams. On the home consoles, on the end of the game, Michael will automatically change into the robot for the final showdown with the Mr. Big's henchmen, and finally into a spaceship for the last battle, in a sort of flying sim shooter in the Genesis Mega Drive version. All incarnation of the game features the ability to Michael to use some form of dance magic, which will force his enemies to dance to his music for various tunes from Bad or Thriller, and then be destroyed as a result.
Similarities is that you use Michael, you are trying to rescue kids. The girl that actually said Michael in this game is the same voice that actually appears on the Genesis version.
The stages are very similar to the home console. You have the club stage, the graveyard stage, etc. This game could not be named the Moonwalker if you cannot do the moonwalk. Look at that, he's dancing, he's showing off his shirt. But you can actually do the moonwalk by charging your weapon. I really have to say this game gives me a lot of memories. This game is part of that great time that I had back all those years with my best friend every time that we went to the arcades. On that time, we played all these great games expecting them to see them someday on the home consoles. But it was just like going to the movies, you saw the movie in the theater and it would come out on video. But many of these great games never made it to the home consoles, or a watered down version will be released. This Moonwalker never saw the light in the Sega Genesis. The thing is that the power that system had, this game could have been ported the exact same way that it looks on the arcades directly to the Sega Genesis. I was like, come on, there's a lot of arcade games that were superior to the Moonwalker arcade, and they actually made it to the home consoles. An example, Punisher, the Capcom game of Punisher, it was ported to the Sega Genesis. Many people didn't know about it, but it is on the Sega Genesis, and it looks a little bit like the arcade, but it's very close enough. And I mean, that could have been done with this Moonwalker game instead of having the Genesis version that we have now. Other examples that I can give you, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that were ported to the SNES and the Genesis. Street Fighter, anyone? I know with the examples I just gave you, I am very confident to say that this game could have been ported the way it is. The game is very short, but it's very fun to play, and I love this game a lot. 10 times better than the versions on the Sega Genesis. Better visuals, better sound, and the imagination of Michael Jackson's bring a great game that was forgotten by time. If you have the chance to play this game, please do so.
This game is very different. Instead of going on a side scroller like the Genesis version, it's a top view, but the dynamics are very different. Michael Jackson, instead of throwing stardust from his hands or his legs, he throws lightning bolts. You can actually charge those lightning bolts. And you have the special, which is the dancing moves, and that you explode everybody on the screen, which actually appears on the Genesis version. This game is even more fun than the Genesis version, and many people are going to agree with me that there are many videos on YouTube right now that said that the Moonwalker for the Genesis version is not a very good game. I actually like it, but this one is better.
Now, Michael Jackson is the most influential icon of all time. He did a lot of great things for humanity, but he also did some things that were not very good in the eye of the public. Many people didn't approve. But sometimes it's easier to look to the bad things that someone has done and be judged by it. But I prefer to remember him for the good things he did. Yes, he was a little strange, but he also was a true loving person. Not many people had the kind of heart that he had. It's hard to know that no more new songs or music will be made by him, but the legacy that he leaves behind will live forever.